Hello, fourth graders, and welcome back to another math fractions lesson with me, Mr. Duclos of Citizenship Academy. Today, our objective is to add and subtract more than two fractions. Let's jump right in and see what we can do. So here we have two fraction addition problems. The only thing that makes these any different is that we're adding together three fractions instead of two. Now, I'm going to use some of the strategies that we've been learning, but I may not use the strategy that you like the best. When you're doing your independent work, use the strategy that you find most helpful. So, in front of me, I have 1/3, 2/3, and 1/3. I don't really need any special strategies, because for this problem, I can see that I have a 1/3 and a 2/3. And I know that 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. So 1/3 plus 2/3 is going to be equal to 3/3, which is also equal to 1 whole. And then, what do I have remaining? I have 1/3 left over here. So I'm just going to bring that down. And my answer is 1 and 1/3. Another way you could have done this problem would have been to just add across. The numbers aren't so hard, so we could have done it like this. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. So we have 4/3. Then you could take that 4/3 and break that down into 3/3, 3/3, and 1/3. And again, we'd see that our 1/3 is 1 and 1/3 remaining. Either way we do it, we should get the same answer. And remember, 4/3 is equal to 1 and 1/3. That's what we've proven. Let's hop on to the second problem, which is a little more challenging. So our second problem here has 6/8 plus 6/8 plus 3/8. Now, I don't have any easy way to make one whole here. It's not like this problem where I know 1 and 2 makes 3. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to use number bonds, because I really like number bonds. If you'd rather use a number line or you'd rather use the area model, that's fine. So I'm going to take 6/8, and I'm going to break that down into 2/8 and 4/8. And you may be asking, Mr. Duclos, why did you make it 2/8 and 4/8 for 6/8? Well, I'm looking at my problem, and I see that I have 6/8 here as well. And I know that 6 plus 2 is equal to 8. So I'm going to need to add 2/8 to one of these 6/8 to make a whole. So when I broke down my 6/8 here, I made sure to start with what I knew I was going to need, 2/8. So now we can rewrite the problem. We have 2/8 plus 4/8 plus 6/8 plus 3/8. What do you know? Now I have my 2/8 and my 6/8. And because 6 plus 2 equals 8, I know that 2/8 plus 6/8 is going to equal 8/8. All right? And so now I'm going to redraw it again, or I'm going to redraw my equation again. I have 8/8 plus 4/8 plus 3/8. Well, I know 8/8 is 1. So I'm going to change that to 1. Now all I have to worry about are my other two fractions. 4 plus 3 is 7. We have the 1 left over. So we're going to have 1 and 7/8. I use number bonds to put the equation or the problem into something that was easier for me to digest. I like making one wholes when I'm adding or subtracting. You can't always do it, but I like to try. So I made a number bond to make my easy 1, and then I just added what was left. Let's look at a couple of subtraction problems and see how we do there. So here we have two subtraction problems. Both have 3 fractions that we're subtracting. Like with addition, I'm going to do them both using strategies that we have learned throughout our fractions lessons, but I may not use the exact strategy that you find most helpful. Whatever strategy that is, whether it's something that I review or it's something that just is really comfortable with you, use that strategy. Use whatever works best for you right now. So we have 1 3/5 minus 4/5 minus 1/5. It seems like a lot, but when we break it down, it's no more complicated than the other problems we've been doing. So I'm going to solve this one using a number line. And I like to count down on my number lines. If you like to count up, that's fine too. But the most important thing is I have to know, what does 1 3/5 equal? Well, 1 is equal to 5/5. Because remember, 1 whole. This represents 1 whole. So whatever fractions we're dealing with, it's going to be the numerator and the denominator as the same thing. The total parts to the whole. And then 3/5 stays the same, 3/5. And that will equal 8/5, right? 5 plus 3 is 8. So that lets me know that on my number line, I'm going to have 8/5 as my point. And then I'm going to count backwards. So first I'm going to count by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have one more, 1/5. And now we see what we got. 8/5, 7/5, 6/5, 5/5, which also equals 1. You wouldn't have to put that in, but I'm putting it in so we know. Then we move down into 4/5, and then 3/5. So that lets us know that our answer is 3/5. So just to review what I did, I broke down our 1 3/5 into fractions that had the same units. That way, I could figure out that it was 8/5. I drew my number line, and I subtracted 4/5 and 1/5. Now let's try another one. For our next problem, I'm going to use the area model, which I've already drawn out here to save us some time. So we have 1 2/4 minus 1/4 minus 3/4. This represents 1 2/4 because we have 4 out of 4, or 1, and we have 2 out of 4. So now using area model, we can subtract. I'm going to take away 1/4. Then I need to take away 3/4. 1, 2, and 3. So now I can just see by looking at my area model that what's left over is 1, 2 out of 4. I don't have to worry about this one anymore because it's 0 out of 4, which equals 0. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. And over here, I have 2 over 4. That means that the answer is going to be 2 over 4. Now you're going to move on, and we're going to do some of your independent work. So here we have the first problem on your Google form. If you're doing a seesaw assignment, that's okay. It's still good to follow along and do this problem with us because it's great practice. So we have 2/5 plus 1/5 plus 3/5. And I'm going to solve it 2 different ways. That way I can check my work and really know if I'm correct or not. The first way I'm going to solve it is I'm going to look and see if I can make a whole, if I can make 1. And I know that 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. And I have 2/5 and I have 3/5. So those two are going to equal 5/5. And 5/5 is the same as 1. Or 1 whole is equal to 1. So I have 5 over 5. I'm going to make that my 1. Plus what's left over? 1/5. And my answer is 1 and 1/5. Whenever you can easily make a 1 whole, I find that to be a great strategy. For me, that works really well. But I'm going to check my work. I want to make sure that I got it correct. So I'm going to check with a number line. So for the second part, and so we have our answer of 1 and 1/5. And so for my check, I'll draw my number line. And I'm going to start at 2/5. And then I'm going to add 1/5. And then 3 more, 3/5. 1, 2, 3. Then I'll count up. I have 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, which I'm going to recognize right away is equal to 1. And finally, 6/5. Now you could break 6/5 down into a number bond, and you come up with 1 and 1/5. But a sneaky little strategy is, when using a number bond, is I only have to count 1 more. So I have 1 and then 1/5. So that's going to equal 1 and 1/5. So then when I check my work, I can see that these two are equal. And that lets me know that I probably did a good job on this problem, because I did it 2 separate ways, and both times I got the same answer. Now it's time for you to go do your independent work, whether that's a Google assignment or it's Seesaw. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. See if this even